I'm broken system, broken trust, and I approve this message.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Oh, hey, guys. I forgot Dexter. Let me go do that in a second here. So this is going to be another dipshit, another day type situation. So I watched this on Old Squishy Gardener a few days ago. And I downloaded it because I didn't want to forget about it. It's that Mr. Buckner guy. And this is one of the few times where Judge Washington genuinely angers me at the end of this. We're going to watch it. It's 45 minutes, so buckle up for that. I'm going to go run and get Dexter real quick as soon as I decide to hit play. Or if the video pops up. Nah, I don't want to be this small. There we go. We can do it that way. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear everything. I'll be watching on my phone as I walk to the next room. Oh, cool. I'm actually live like everywhere today. All right. Here we go with this nonsense.
We're here for non-jury trial day. Are we ready to proceed? Anybody want to give opening statements?
Just the people will waive the opening statement.
Defense will likewise waive your honor.
All right. You may call your first witness.
Thank you, Judge. The people call Sergeant Jordan Irbies to the stand.
Sergeant Irbies, please unmute your device for me and raise your be sworn. Sergeant Irbies, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. I know you testified before, so I don't need to give you any direction. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Woods.
On that date, were you involved in an investigation involving Lawrence Buckner at 1501 South Huron Street in Ypsilanti Township?
I received a complaint from him, yes.
What do you mean by that?
I was asked to call him in regards to a trespass notice that was served to him earlier that evening.
And did you call Mr. Buckner?
Thank
And
you.
why were you given the task to call Mr. Buckner?
He was upset for being served a trespass notice to the improper address.
So he was given a trespass notice, but it was to the wrong address?
Yes, so Deputy Jay Clark had served him a trespass notice earlier in the evening. There were two Sunocos. It was supposed to be to the Sunoco at 350 South Ford Boulevard, but Deputy Jay Clark mistakenly issued it to him at 1024 East Road, which is the second Sunoco gas station in Ypsilanti Township.
So you were calling to just give him the correct information?
Has to be called in order to make a complaint about being served the improper.
Do you recall what time you called Mr. Buckner?
I believe it was around 1:30 a.m., somewhere in that time frame.
Okay. And are you familiar with Mr. Buckner's voice?
I am.
And when you called Mr. Buckner, was this call recorded?
It was recorded on my body-worn camera.
Judge, may I share my screen?
What are you sharing?
The phone call, it's on his body-worn camera. I just want to lay foundation.
All right. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Deputy, what are we looking at here?
This is my body-worn camera. Whenever I make a phone call, I typically show the camera the phone number that I'm calling to verify it, and then the phone call is played over speakerphone, so my body-worn camera can collect that information that is being the conversations being had back and forth.
And after you made this recording, did you share this recording with the prosecutor's office?
I did.
And is this an accurate depiction of what your body-worn camera looks like at that date?
It is.
Sergeant for the Sheriff's Office. What can I do for you?
I can now.
Are you hearing it?
Yes.
Perfect. I'll continue playing it. Let me just rewind it. I just had issues before, so I just wanted to make sure you could hear it.
Just so you're aware, the body camera has a 30-second buffer period in which when I activate it, 30 seconds prior plays, but there's no audio attached to it. So that may be what's occurring.
That's correct. I just started playing it when the audio picks up.
Sergeant Irvin for the sheriff's office. What can I do for you? I had no incidences. You don't even know who you are. You're brand new. Yeah. So I know that that's a lie. Yeah, Jay Clark did. I have talked to him. Yeah, but he's got no beef with you. He ain't even been here long enough to have beef with you. Well, he has to have a beef. But I've talked to him a few times. Okay. So outside of that, you don't know what transpired because you ain't there for it. But this transpired.
Now, I just wanted to point out or remind you guys, remember this conversation. Remember this where the guy's so new that there's no possible way for them to have beef either way. And remember that the officer isn't rude. He's just to the point. Just keep that in your mind for later.
It's to the wrong building. Okay. What address did you trespass you to? They trespassed me to 1024 E-Course Road. Okay. Well, that is incorrect. It's 350 South Ford. It's the Oklahoma. Yeah, so they put the wrong thing on there. So this one don't exist. So, they just got to reserve you or whatever. No, we don't have to reserve you. I just have to verbally serve you. I don't have to serve you a piece of paper. So you're trespassing 350 South Ford Boulevard. If you'd like another piece of paper, then I can give you another piece of paper. I'm just making y'all aware because I am going to be still like I'm not banned for a piece of place, so I'm not going to deal with this fake ass Islamic bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well you're trespassing that premises there. The premises is to the gas station. That's the address. The address to the piece of place is a whole different address. Okay. Okay, so that's a whole different address. Okay. Like, for the bullshit, I ain't deal with it. Because he approached me at the pizza place, I'm going to beat the fuck out of him. Well, that's a threat.
Mr. Irby or Sergeant Irby's, is that an accurate depiction of the phone call that day?
It is.
How do you know that was Lawrence Buckner you were talking to?
I've had numerous incidences with Mr. Buckner previously, so I'm quite familiar with him and his voice and his mannerisms. And that phone call is consistent with previous contacts I've had with him. And him being the person that was served with the trespass, he would be the only one at that point in time that would know that the trespass was served at the improper address.
And do you see Mr. Buckner on him today? And would you?
His Zoom videos labeled Mr. Buckner.
Judge, may the record reflect that the
No objection, Your Honor.
It shall.
when Mr. Buckner had stated on his phone call, if he approached me at the pizza place, I'm going to beat the fuck out of him. Do you know who Mr. Buckner was referring to?
He was referring to Deputy Jay Clark. And I say Jay Clark because we have two Clarks that work for us.
Okay. And did you take what Mr. Buckner said to you as a threat on Deputy Clark?
I did.
When a threat like that is made to a law enforcement officer, what are you required to do?
There's not any specific requirements, but I made sure to notify Deputy Jay Clark so that he was aware that the threat was made. And then due to the likelihood of it, if it was going to be carried out, it would possibly be that night. I notified the other deputies on shift in case something occurred with Mr. Buckner.
Did you believe that threat that Mr. Buckner made?
Yes, considering it was made to a sergeant and it was pretty brazen and it's well aware of who he is, I did take it as a credible threat.
Okay. And how did this threat on a fellow law enforcement officer make you feel?
Concerned me for the safety of my deputy in the event that he was reserved that trespass notice, or in the event that they did come in contact with him in the community again that later that evening or that week.
Do you believe that this threat was intended to frighten, intimidate, or annoy or disturb your peace?
I do.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that question as speculation and/or calling for a legal conclusion.
I just want you to know now, I've seen the public defender in court before. I always thought of him as a weasel, and he proves that he's a weasel in this case. I understand he's advocating best he can for his client, but he's a fucking weasel.
Response.
I'm just asking for the officer to elaborate on how that made him feel. I can rephrase my question, Judge.
Okay, please rephrase.
Officer, when you received that threat from Mr. Buckner, how did that make you feel?
I was frightened for the safety of my deputy.
Okay. And why were you frightened for the safety of the deputy?
The fact that a comment like that was made directly to a law enforcement officer, that's not in the typical realm of things that happen. So the fact that he was willing to make such a brazen threat, knowing that he was talking to a sergeant, knowing that he was calling to make a complaint, the credibility of that threat to me was pretty substantial. It's not something that I get very often when somebody asks me to call them, that they're going to tell me that they're then going to beat up or attack one of my deputies. That's
No further questions.
Mr. Lebo?
Thank you. Deputy Urbis, one of the things you said on the phone call was that you knew Mr. Buckner was lying to you. Is that correct?
correct.
And what you were indicating, Mr. Buckner, that you believe he was lying to you about was whether he had encountered Deputy Clark. Is that correct?
I believe it was whether Deputy Clark had a problem with him specifically or not.
One of the things you said in that call was that he hadn't been at the sheriff's department long enough to have any contact with Mr. Buckner. Is that correct?
To have significant enough contact for him to have a vendetta against Mr. Buckner, yes.
Fair to say that you were incorrect and that Mr. Buckner had had contact with Mr. Clark.
Yes, he had contact. I don't know that he had contact.
So fair to say that Mr. not in fact lying to you.
I mean, it depends on how you're interpreting what Mr. Buckner said. So the reason that
Certainly.
Okay.
So additionally, you said earlier that you took this threat seriously.
Correct.
Now on the video, we heard you laughing immediately after you stated out loud that it was a threat.
Correct.
Would you generally laugh after you hear a serious threat towards a law enforcement officer?
Okay, so anybody in the military, I know weapons can probably attest to this. There's some times when you get into a sketchy situation or something that happens that you're just like, whoa, and you just laugh out of just, what the fuck was that type shit. And the fact that public defender Weasel doesn't understand that makes me think he probably shouldn't be an attorney. He shouldn't be asking these questions if he's, I don't want to say doesn't have life experiences, but if you've never been in a situation where you had to laugh at something serious, like, go travel the world, my guy.
Well, that was my response at the time because I thought it was so brazen, and I was surprised by it. It kind of caught me off guard. I didn't expect that to
Okay,
come.
so I guess, and earlier the prosecutor asked you how you felt, and you initially said concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was another question the prosecutor asked you where there was an objection and a rephrase. She re-asked you that question, and then you changed concerned to frightened. Do you remember that?
Correct. Yes.
Why did you make that change?
Well, I can feel frightened at the same time that I can feel concerned for my deputy's welfare.
You certainly can, but I'm asking why you changed your phrasing the first time the question was asked to the second time the question was asked.
I don't have a answer for that.
Did you change that phrasing as a result of how you felt it would influence the outcome of the case?
No.
Okay. Now, after Mr. Buckner made that statement, because he approached me at the pizza place, I beat the F out of him, he hung up right away, didn't he?
Correct.
Did he try calling you back?
No.
Okay. And how did you determine that the he was talking to was Deputy J. Clark? Was it anything other than the context of the call?
I believe he said Deputy J. Clark in the phone call. He said Deputy Clark in the phone call, identifying him.
At the end of the call, I heard was he. Did you hear something different?
I'd have to re-listen to the body cam again, but I believe that he did say Deputy J.
Okay,
Clark.
so why don't we?
And this is why I absolutely dislike defense attorneys at this point. I understand you're advocating for your client, but we all just listen to that. Every single one of us in chat, the thousands of people who watched it in video form, we all know who this guy was talking about. But the attorney's like, oh, I just heard he could have been talking about any three be talking about them. It's like, no, dude, we know exactly who he was talking about.
We play it again. And Your Honor, screen. Thank you, Your Honor. It should be my apologies. Was the body camera tone just heard?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Buckner, Sergeant Herbs with the Sheriff's Office. What can I do for you?
Oh, and then I don't understand. Like, I got a trespass, and and it just happened to be by the same officer that I had a few incidents with over in the area when I was dealing with my ex-girlfriend, and like he got hard on for me. He was told he was gonna give me, and he's making a point out of it.
What deputy?
Jake Clark.
Jay Clark has had no incidences with you. He don't even know who you are. He's brand new.
Yeah.
So I know that that's a lie.
Yeah, Jay Clark. I have talked to him.
Yeah, but he's got no beef with you. He ain't even been here long enough to have a beef with you.
Well, he does have a beef because I talked.
And let me pause it again right here. Dexter is back there trying his best to destroy that tennis ball. Where I worked, I'm not saying this is the same there, but where I worked, you would have a district to work. We had 3 districts. And more times than not, you would repeatedly work in the same district night after night after night after night after night after night, unless something was going on that was crazy and you had to go to another district to help out. A bunch of people were on vacation and you had to cover their district. So if he's had any run-ins with this guy, it's because he keeps getting called to basically, by him having this job, he's forced to make contact with you. He's not going out of his way to just fuck with you. He's not putting himself on the calls that involve you. It's more than likely his district, his area of coverage, and he's being dispatched to you. And because they get called on you so often, you see him more often. There's no beef there. It's your first live stream. I'll buckle up. I assume after 9 o'clock, some things are probably going to heat up. I think this happened just the other day. So I think it's going on at the same time. Yeah, random live. I was bored.
Okay. So outside of that, you don't know what transpired because you ain't been everywhere. But this trespass don't exist. It's to the wrong building. And,
Okay. What address did he trespass you to?
They trespassed me to 1024 E Course Road.
Okay. Well, that is incorrect. It's 350 South Ford. It's the Oklahoma.
Yeah, so they put the wrong thing on there. So this one don't exist. So, they just got to reserve it.
No, we don't have to reserve you. I just have to verbally serve you. I don't have to serve you a piece of paper. So you're trespassing 350 South Ford Boulevard. If you'd like another piece of paper, then you can meet me and I can give you another piece of paper.
I'm just making y'all aware because I am going to be still I'm not banned for the pizza place, so I'm not going to deal with this fake ass Islamic bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, you're trespassing from that premises there.
No, the premises is for the gas station. That's the address. The address to the pizza place is a whole different address.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a whole different address.
Okay.
So, this little bullshit, I ain't gonna deal with it. Because if he approached me at the pizza place, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him.
Well, that's a threat.
Okay, upon listening to that again, it wasn't even like a nervous laugh. It was like oh my God, this guy is such an idiot. He just did that while being recorded. That's what that laugh was. That laugh was, oh my God, this is the dumbest human being I've ever had to talk to. That's what that laugh was.
So, Sergeant Herbs, is your testimony essentially that you determined that it was Deputy Clark that Mr. Buckner directed his statement to based on the context of the call?
Yes, he stated that it was Deputy Clark.
Okay. And did anyone advise Deputy Clark that needed to avoid that pizza place that night?
That Deputy Clark needed to avoid the pizza place that night?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, if it had been a serious threat towards Deputy Clark, wouldn't someone have told him to avoid that pizza place?
Why would I tell him to specifically avoid that pizza place?
Just throwing this out there. Again, public defender Weasel doesn't understand like reality. An officer's job is to go where he is dispatched to go. If Deputy Clark was dispatched to go to that damn pizza place, he's going to go to the pizza place. By this logic, criminals could just make threats against police officers, therefore making those places just no-go zones for cops, which would defeat the whole purpose of policing.
Because the statement that indicated that you perceived as a threat was, if I see him at the pizza place, I'm a beat the F out of him. The phrase
Yes.
at the pizza place.
I notified Deputy J. Clark of the threat that was made about it, but I didn't tell him to specifically stay away from the pizza place.
Okay. Wouldn't it be reasonable if someone perceived a true threat to tell them, this person says they may harm you if they see you here, so don't go there?
I guess, but I figured that telling
you.
him
Thank you.
overall the threat
Thank you,
would
sir.
be the warning that he needed.
Thank you. And wouldn't you agree that generally if you hear a serious threat against a law enforcement officer, you don't laugh?
Depends on how your response to that kind of threat is.
Okay. Is there any particular reason you concluded that Mr. Buckner made that statement with intent to threaten rather than simply he blurted it out at the end of a frustrating call?
Well, I mean, why? I don't understand why somebody would make that kind of statement to a law enforcement officer if they didn't mean it.
So essentially it was basically simply based on the fact that it was said, you concluded that it was a true threat.
Yep.
Let me just review my notes for a moment. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any redirect?
Just briefly, Judge. So let's talk about, he said in the call that he has a beef with Deputy Clark. Are you aware of what beef he was talking about?
I believe he was claiming that Deputy Clark had a beef with him.
Okay. And are
Mag-D5, you make a great point, and it's exactly what I was talking about. Oh no, some crackhead threatened me, so I better be scared and not go to that place again. Like, that's not how policing works. And yeah, KTZ, I want you to know that if you go back to my videos from the last couple days, there was actually 2 tennis balls back there. He actually took one into his cage last night and destroyed it, and now nothing is safe around here with him. But no, this is how I felt. I'm like, okay, as of right this second, it's open and shut. Easy day, 3 seconds, he's guilty. And it's like a snowball going downhill from like here on out. And my disappointment rises from here on out as well.
Are you aware of Deputy Clark having a beef with the defendant?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And let's get back to avoiding a certain place. As an officer, would you advise another officer not to go somewhere because they might have a threat against them?
Not specifically. I mean, in this circumstance, I felt that warning him of the threat overall would have been more than enough to make sure that he avoided Mr. Buckner.
So you warned the deputy about Mr. Buckner and his behavior. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. But so you did warn him.
I warned him about the threat, yes.
Okay. And let's talk about that laugh. So, how would you describe that laugh, that little laugh that you did at the end? What kind of laugh would you say that was?
It was more out of shock than anything else that he had just said that and then hung up.
And he hung up the phone on you, correct, after he made that threat?
Correct.
Okay. Was that a laugh could that be described as a happy laugh?
I would say it was more like a holy crap. Like he just said that.
Okay. So more like a nervous laugh. Is that what you're saying?
I would say that would be a way to categorize it, yes.
Okay. Did you
Damn,
end
I'm
up
muted.
reporting this after this happened?
Reporting it in terms of,
For charging.
yes,
And why did you do that?
because I believe the threat may be credible.
I have no further questions, Judge.
Dawn, since when is having beef proper courtroom vocabulary? I think normally it wouldn't be, but in the context of that's the terminology that the Mr. Buckner, who apparently is a sovereign citizen or something, That's the terminology he used. So they're just rolling with it.
Thank you, Mr. Lebo.
Very briefly, Your Honor. Sergeant Irby, were you laughing because you were looking forward to submitting charges against Mr. Buckner?
No,
Okay.
shocked reaction.
Fair to say that throughout the conversation with Mr. Buckner, far before you made that statement, you were generally fairly impatient with him.
Yes.
Fair to say you're not a fan of Mr. Buckner.
I wouldn't describe it as that. I've had a lot of dealings with him.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Sergeant Evers. You may be excused. Any further witnesses in the prosecution?
No, Judge, and the people rest our case.
Any witnesses from the defense?
No, your defense rests acceptable argument.
Did you want to talk about you already?
I will make a record, Your Honor. Mr. Buckner, do you understand you have a right to testify in this case, sir?
Yes. I mean, I can testify.
I know. I'm asking you if you have decided to testify.
I mean, sure.
You're going to have a break with Mr. Buckner.
That was the wrong answer, Mr. Buckner. You were supposed to say, no, I'm good. Thanks, though. It's crazy to me how damning the phone call was. And again, it only goes downhill from here. It's so, I'm trying not to swear as much on the channel, but it's so fucking stupid that they're even having this conversation because it's that open and shut. It's like, oh, did you make this threat? Yes. Okay, cool. Guilty. Done.
Certainly.
Thank you.
All right, the 14B District Court is back in session. We're still in the same case of Mr. Lawrence Buckner.
Mr. Buckner, have you decided to waive your right to testify in this case?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Buckner, you fully understand you have a right to testify, at which time anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You're choosing to waive that right and not testify today. Is that you're choosing to not testify today, and you're not going to exercise your right to testify? Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right. I guess we can proceed with closing statements with the people, please.
Thank you, Judge. So, Judge, we heard testimony from Sergeant Irby's. We know this happened in Ypsilanti Township, and we know that the defendant made these threats through a phone. The telephone number was also put on the record. We actually saw the phone call that was used to communicate between Sergeant Irby's and the defendant, Mr. Buckner. Second, that when communicating with Sergeant Irby's, the defendant threatened physical harm to another person or to any person. It doesn't even really matter who that person is. Sergeant Irby's believed that that person that he was threatening happened to be Deputy Clark because he spoke about Deputy Clark. He actually said that he had a beef with Deputy Clark. He told Sergeant Irby's that that he has a beef with him, he wasn't happy with him, that there was issues going on with Deputy Clark that Sergeant Irby's wasn't aware of. And then he said that if he approaches him at the pizza place, that he's going to beat the fuck out of him. Judge, these are threats that were made by the defendant directly to a sergeant of a law enforcement agency. Judge, what these people do day in and day out is dangerous. Threats should not be taken lightly, and they were not taken lightly by Sergeant Irby's. When Sergeant Irby's has had dealings with its defendant before, he knows him. He believed that that was a threat. He reached out, let Deputy Clark know about those threats. He recorded that phone call, and then he did what he was supposed to do, and he went forward and had this case looked at for charging, Judge. That shows me right there that this sergeant believed that the defendant made those threats with the intent to frighten, intimidate, threaten, disturb the peace and quiet.
Dawn, YouTube seems to only care about cuss words when it's not a soft-sit or fraud-hard cussing. YouTube seems to take more annoyance with me showing someone get pepper sprayed or tased or saying the F word occasionally. They seem to care much more about that than a convicted pedo who's on the registry recording kids for their frauditing video. It's kind of gross, honestly. Like, if you're on the registry and you show anything that has a child involved, if I can hear a bunch of kids laughing in the background of your video, your channel should get deleted. Full stop. I made the comment today in my community post. It seems like nowadays, if you throw a rock into a crowd of frauditors, you're going to hit somebody on the registry. I was not joking. And shout out to the person who said I should be using bigger rocks. It's just, YouTube's priorities. Oh, God, what's the thing that Ron Weasley said about Hermione? I think it was in the first one. Something about priorities. Yeah, that's how I feel.
The sergeant, which is exactly what he did. If these threats meant nothing to Sergeant Irby's, he would have just laughed it off and did nothing, Judge. That's not what happened here. When he heard those threats,
fuck off this
he
shit.
actively did.
Mr. Buckner,
My dogs is back here chewing on my stuff.
I'm sorry, Ms. Woods, you may continue.
It's fine, Judge. What I was just basically getting to, Judge, is these guys, police officers, they do a dangerous job. When Sergeant Irby's heard this threat, he believed it was a real threat, and he took action on that threat, Judge, which is what he should have done, especially when you have a man who's claiming that if another officer shows up to a pizza place where he's going to be, that he's going to beat the fuck out of him. That's not how, everything that we just heard today, Judge, meets every element for this case. And I do believe that based on the actions of Sergeant Irby's, he showed this court that he did take these threats seriously. And he did proceed forward with alerting the other officer, Deputy Clark, of these threats, and sent this case forward for charging, which is what he should have done, because what Mr. Buckner did by making these threats to a sergeant of a law enforcement agency is against the law, and he should not be allowed to get away with that kind of behavior, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lebo?
Firstly, let me apologize for the sounds I heard from Mr. Buckner while Ms. was delivering her closing argument.
It wasn't fucking sounds, my guy. He started swearing on stream in the middle of closing arguments. Like, it's not, it just sounds. No, your dude was swearing because his dog's like chewing on his bong or something.
So, in order for Mr. Buckner to be convicted of the offense of illicit use of telecommunications device, the prosecutor must prove, among elements that are not at issue in this case, that Mr. Buckner knew his actions were wrong, but he acted intentionally with the specific intent to terrorize, frighten, intimidate, harass, annoy, or disturb the peace and quiet of Deputy Irby's. It is, under the law, it is not relevant whether Deputy Irby's genuinely believes that the threat was sincere or not. It's relevant. The only relevance is whether Mr. Buckner had the to make that statement while he was also making a true threat. This is
by that logic, you could say whatever you wanted, and then when you get to court, say, "Oh, I was just playing." That's not how that's going to work, because you'll just take that out every time. No one's going to be facing charges and go, "Oh no, I meant it. I intended to do X, Y, Z." No, they're just going to say, "Oh, I was just fooling."
On the model jury instructions this offense at 35.1, additionally citing cases of People v. Bycheck 333 Mish App 173 and In Re JP 330 Mish App 1. This is not a case about harassing repeated phone calls. We heard that Mr. Buckner did not try to call Deputy Irby's back after he made his ill-advised blurted out.
Because he knew he fucked up.
And we know that Mr. Buckner didn't make a true threat Because Ellenus v. United States, which is cited by Bycheck, holds that a true threat must be made with specific intent and intent to intimidate or coerce. The context here shows it wasn't a true threat. The statement wasn't made to the person he was supposedly threatening. It was made.
I just want you guys to know this. If this officer or the guy I've been talking about this conversation, if that guy shows up to this location, I'm going to do this thing. It seems pretty fucking specific.
To and about a person who Mr. Buckner would not expect to feel threatened by such a vague and mild statement. A sheriff's deputy was the authority to, if necessary, use force against Mr. Buckner and take him to custody. Under these circumstances, it's not plausible that Mr. Buckner actually expected or intended Deputy Irby's or Deputy Clark to feel threatened. Similarly, if Mr. Buckner had specifically intended for Deputy Irby's to feel frightened, intimidated, harassed, or disturbed, he would have behaved differently. He would have threatened Deputy Irby's directly, not a third party, or he would have made the threat directly to the person who he intended to threaten. If he intended to harass and or disturb Deputy Irby's, he would have made further phone calls or insulted or threatened Deputy Irby's himself. He would not have simply made an ill-advised comment and hung up the line. This is a close case, but I don't believe the process has shown Mr. Buckner's specific intent beyond reasonable doubt. I think this is a case where it's just as probable that Mr. Buckner simply blurted out a comment he should not have made out of frustration without any intent to make a true threat and without any specific intent whatsoever, and that is why I'm asking for a verdict of not guilty today.
Well, if he was talking to Sergeant Irby's on the phone and he threatened to come to the police station and blow up the place, you would still be making the same argument?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
What's the difference?
The difference is it's a degree of specificity, the degree
There is
of
no difference.
I'm going to this place where I know that you are, and I'm going to commit an act of terrorism. That's very different from an offhand, blurted out comment in a phone call saying, oh yeah, well, if I see him again, I'm going to beat him up.
It's literally exactly what it was. He was talking to someone and said, hey, if your officer comes to this place, I'm going to do this thing to him. That's pretty specific. So I understand that he's the public defender and it's his job to help out the defendant, but at what point do you have to intentionally lie to the court about what happened?
He didn't say he sees him again. What he said was, if he approaches him at the pizza place, he's going to beat his ass.
Yes, Your Honor, and
I don't know how much more specific you could get.
I suppose it would be more specific if he said, I'm going to be here at this time, and if I see him there, I'm going to beat him up. Or I'm going to go find him at the police station and beat him up. I think, though, the bigger issue than the exact phrasing is the intent and the manner in which the statement was made.
I've seen two good points here. Dawn, this sounds much like the woman who tried to get help in a domestic violence situation. Sorry, we can't do anything until he actually unalives you. Yes, and then Mag D5. So the attorney thinks he needs to make more than one threat before it's credible. And this is where we're going in society, where you're having to do the same act 57 times before anything can happen to you. I was just watching what was it? The crazy lady dealing with the crazy baby mama of like her brother or something. And she's like, yeah, I have a PPO against my abuser who abused me, and he's broken his PPO like 5 or 6 times, and they just won't do anything. At what point does somebody make a threat to you, physically attack you before they just go to jail?
Blurted out quickly and immediately followed by hanging up without calling back. That shows frustration and a blurted out comment that was illegal.
If you say something stupid, yeah, you're going to immediately hang up and go, why the fuck did I just say that? Oh my God, I'm a fucking idiot. That's why he hung up. This guy's got like 2 brain cells to rub together. You have to think, what would a caveman do? And that's what a caveman would do. You said something dumb, you hung up. That's what it is.
It does not show beyond a reasonable doubt specific intent. I certainly understand that you could look at this and say there is a very good reason to believe he might have been doing that. I just don't believe it reaches the level of beyond a reasonable doubt. I think it's perfectly.
So let me ask you this. I agree that he was probably frustrated. I don't like, and I'll say it directly to Sergeant Irby's. I don't like the way the Sergeant Irby's treated him when he called to make a complaint. He was basically disrespected and called a liar.
Judge Washington, I'm just going to throw this down right now. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't give a fuck what you think. This is the part that kind of like sent me over the edge because, like I said, it only goes downhill from here. It continues going downhill from here. He talked to him rude and disrespectful and called him a liar. That's why I told you at the very beginning of that call, hey, remember this moment where he was kind of annoyed, but he wasn't like, fuck you, why are you doing X, Y, Z? No, he's just like, stop. Like, you're being trespassed. Like, stop. And now Judge Washington's getting up on her high horse. He's like, oh, I feel some type of way because he was mad to the criminal. Like, shut up. Your job is to say guilty or not guilty. That is it. Nobody cares about your opinion like otherwise.
Without any real basis for that. So I don't like that. And I can see why he would be frustrated. But the fact of the matter is he still threatened an officer. Is how I see it, whether it was out of frustration or not. So how does the frustration change the specific intent is what I'm asking you.
Remember, so under the law, a true threat must be made with specific intent and intent to intimidate or coerce. When someone blurts something out of frustration without thinking about it, they don't have a specific intent. They just had the frustration, said something because they were angry. They didn't have the specific intent to make another person feel a certain way. They're just expressing how they feel in the moment in an ill-advised manner.
Are you arguing that when someone's angry, therefore they don't have any intent behind what they do?
No, Your Honor. I'm arguing that there needs to be some evidence of consideration of, I'm going to make this threat because I want to make this person do a certain thing, and I want them to take this threat seriously. And I don't believe that's shown in this case.
Ms. Woods?
Can I just make a short comment?
That's why I'm coming back to you, Ms. Woods.
So Mr. Buckner requested the phone call. When he got Sergeant Irby's on the line, he immediately was upset. He said that he believed that Officer Clark was bugging him about stuff he didn't know about, and that he had Deputy Clark, and he has a beef with Deputy Clark. And then he threatened to.
He never said he had a beef with Deputy Clark. What?
Yeah, in the call he does.
Let me finish. Clark had a beef with him. Those are two different.
If he's making a threat to Deputy Clark, calling his supervisor to make a complaint, a bullshit complaint about Deputy Clark, and Deputy Clark has had to visit him multiple times, it seems like the beef, if there is one, goes both ways, if not only from Mr. Buckner. So when Judge Washington's like, he threatened his life, but no, he doesn't have a beef with the deputy. Like, grow up.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're correct, Judge. But he believes there's some sort of beef going on between them.
No,
and
believes that he's being harassed by Deputy Clark.
Right. So I believe that this wasn't an ill-advised comment, Judge. This is a man who is upset. He believes that the police are bugging him, that this Deputy Clark has a beef with him, and he made the threat. He knew he was threatening him when he said those words. There's no doubt that this was not some ill-advised comment out of the blue, out of frustration and anger. I do believe that when he made that threat, he did intend to make that threat. And then he hung up the phone after he made that threat.
Mark, yeah, that's why I made the title of this. This is what's wrong with the current justice system or something like that. Again, it only gets worse. The next, 15 minutes, 13 minutes, it only gets worse. Because there's almost zero accountability for this guy. And that's what kills me. So even though he's guilty, spoiler alert, even though he's guilty, they're making him out to be the victim. It's like, did we just watch the same case?
Because he knew because he knew what he said was wrong. And I believe that I have proved each of those elements beyond a reasonable doubt, Judge, and that this was in fact a threat. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Can I see counsel in the breakout room? All right, we're back on the record in the case of the state of Michigan versus Lawrence Buckner, 25S00102. I called the and everybody is here on the case for the record. I called the prosecution and defense over on the other side, and I'll be very clear with both of the other two people who were present that I did that so that I could look into the actual case law that had been cited by Mr. Lebo to determine whether or not there was anything I was missing in terms of the facts as applied to the law in this particular case. The law and the court rule, as well as the jury instruction, is very clear that for there to be a malicious use of telecommunication service, the person using the service must, with intent, choose to terrorize, frighten, intimidate, threaten, harass, molest, annoy, or disturb the peace and quiet of a person, in this case Deputy Urbis, by threatening physical harm or damage to any person or property. It doesn't have to be to him. It doesn't have to be to a specific person that's actually receiving the call. The situation in this case, and I've listened to it very closely to try to determine whether or not I have any doubts as to whether or not Mr. Buckner intended to, and I don't think he intended to frighten. I think he intended to intimidate, which is one of the elements. He wanted to intimidate because in this particular case, he was being mistreated. And I believe.
Okay, so she was being mistreated. Shut the fuck up. The walrus. I think I know which video you're talking about. I think it's the last video, or maybe it's not the video you're talking about, but the video with the eviction case with the chick sovereign citizen. This sovereign citizen came in, yada, yada. Judge Washington was extremely rude to her, rightfully so, but was rude to her at the end. Told her that she was like mentally ill or like mentally deficient or some shit. And then when the chick said, okay, you know, I'm going to just file a federal lawsuit against you, Judge Washington got pissy and said she was going to bring her up on charges for it. But if a person actually threatens physical violence on a cop, you have to be not rude to them. Like, where does the logic make sense? Because to me, it doesn't. Someone's going to file paperwork against you, and you're going to say, I'm going to bring you up on charges. But somebody threatens physical violence on one of their coworkers, and you're like, you should have been nicer to him. Like, what logic is that?
I believe he was being mistreated, but it doesn't give him the right to do what he did. That's the problem with Mr. Buckner, and I keep trying to talk to him. And I don't, the conversation I had with him after his last case has helped or not, because it's happened before the last case, that it's his mouth that's the problem. And he needs to learn to control that. He intended to intimidate Mr. Clark not to approach him at the pizza place because he felt like, and maybe he's correct, he had a right to be at the pizza place. And I'm not saying he didn't have a right to be at the pizza place.
Unless the pizza place decided they didn't want him there, then he doesn't belong at the pizza place.
It's not before me. But to threaten to beat someone's ass, according to this law, is a violation of that law. He is guilty of malicious use of a telecommunications device. I find that he's guilty, and I'm hopeful that Mr. Buckner can learn to just stop. Just stop. I am also hopeful that Deputy Urbis can give Mr. Buckner, I understand he's a challenging individual, but he's deserving of respect just like everybody else. Our jobs require that even though people are disrespectful or difficult, we have to treat them with respect. So I don't know where this goes from now with respect to Mr. Buckner and his relationship with the police department, or the police department and their relationship with him. But I am seriously asking that because people have the power over other people doesn't mean that they should mistreat them. They just should.
So this is the mental gymnastics that Judge Washington just went through right here. I don't like the law. The law exists. Poor criminal. I'm going to find him guilty, and shocker, he's not really going to get anything. Which is piss poor, in my opinion. He should be in this place called jail. Dawn, is this Washington State or D.C.? Shocker, it's Michigan. Shocker. I know. Yeah, he's not deserving of respect. If you call to make a bogus complaint, I'm going to be rude to you. I was rude to people all the time who came in. I was fortunate to work where I did and when I did. I didn't want to say I had the hookup. I knew everyone who worked there. From the higher ups to the brand new people coming in, I knew everyone. If somebody came in or somebody threatened this person said they're going to come in later and file a grievance or whatever, they were just giving me the heads up. Hey, you want to watch the body cam from that? Sure. We would load up the body cam right there and watch it. And then you'd go, oh, she's just fucking nuts. So when she came in, yes, I would be rude to you because I knew what you were trying to push was trying to hurt someone's career because you're being a bitch. So this guy was trying to hurt someone's career because he's a bitch, and the judge is falling for it, hook, line, and sinker.
But as far as whether or not he's guilty of this charge, he is guilty of that. Mr. Deputy Urbis is here. He's the victim. I intend to proceed with immediate sentencing. Anything you want to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I would still respect the court's verdict. I would ask the court to take into account the mistreatment of Mr. Buckner that the court found occurred, as well as Mr. Buckner's potential efforts to improve himself, and the fact that he does have other ongoing matters that he will need to deal with. We would be requesting a fines and cost sentence.
What else is he dealing with?
Your Honor, he does have a pending felony matter.
No.
Was that dismissed, sir?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so Optimus Prime up there, he's also the guy that is in Judge Simpson's court. I believe somebody made a claim of him threatening a witness or somebody in court at the time. So he's that same guy.
Your devices is acting up.
All of the false charges was dismissed. Can you hear me now?
Ms. Woods, anything from you?
Judge, of course, I would ask if Sergeant Irby would like to speak, but I would be asking for a probation term, Judge. I agree with you. I think that maybe an impulse control program or something like that would be helpful to Mr. Buckner. It could.
Oh God, the Walrus, you made two great comments today. So it's disrespectful to call a liar. What a crock of shit. That's like these frauditors where you're like, hey, you're on the registry. And they're like, that's slander. And it's just like, is that your face on the registry? If it's true, it's not slander. If it's true, like it might be disrespectful to call a liar, but at the end of the day, that's factually accurate. Like, I don't understand why these people get the way they are. It's so ass backwards.
He's something that could really help him in the future, Judge. So I would
prison.
Asking for a probation term, and then Sergeant Irby, if you would like to speak on behalf of sentencing.
Nope. I would just like to apologize to Mr. Buckner and to the court as well for the way that I handled this situation initially from the onset of the complaint. It's not a great representation of myself, and for that I apologize.
I think that Mr. Buckner is not here.
Oh, well, I send my apologies to him for the way that I handled that initially, and I in the future will work to do better. It's not a great representation of myself, and for that I apologize.
Thank you.
People in the chat, would you have apologized if you were that sergeant? Personally, I would not, because he did nothing wrong. And this is what is wrong with the current justice system. The victims are now apologizing to the criminals. Like, what is going on?
Thank you. I really appreciate that a lot.
Could we get him some sort of an impulse program?
Mr. Buckner,
Yeah,
did you hear the
it's called
apology, sir?
his father with a belt.
No, my phone was overheating and it's messed up. I didn't hear nothing for the last minute and a half. I tried to sign in on my other phone, but I didn't hear nothing. I'm on my Zoom.
So the prosecutor is asking for a referral to probation, and for probation, and Sergeant Irby's apologized for the way that he handled the situation. Sergeant Irby's.
Yes, Mr. Buckner, I just wanted to apologize for the way that I handled the situation when you called me.
Not only would I have not apologized the first time, I sure as shit wouldn't have apologized the second time. Like, it makes no sense.
All right, I guess I appreciate it, but apology, that's what's up, but we at the end of the day as men, we both know the truth. And like I said, I stand on the pillars of righteousness, regardless of the bumps in the roads that I had. So, good
Drugs
looking
are
out on
bad.
that, so, I'm just tired of you and your colleagues harassing me, and the stuff that I went through recently in regards to all this situation is malicious persecution, and that's exactly what it is.
Respectfully, motherfucker, we just watched the body cam footage of the call where you threatened an officer or a deputy. Nobody's out to get you. Nobody's out to get you. You wanted them to call you. They called you, and you made a threat. Oh, what? Yeah, new style court. Revolving front door, direct passage to the judge's bench, passage to the jail, passage to the front door, only used for sovereign. Yeah, it makes no sense.
Mr. Buckner?
And I hope somebody
Mr. Buckner,
can find
the judge is asking you to stop.
So first of all, Mr. Buckner, the one thing I am hopeful for, and I don't think it's working, is that this is not done to enable you to be more difficult and to be more challenging. But I think maybe you're taking that as a way for you to be more difficult. There's a certain level of respect that everybody has to give everybody. That includes you to them. And you're
What did I say wrong, Judge Washington? What did I say wrong? And my response, what I didn't talk condescending to nobody. How was I disrespectful in what I just said when he said he apologized? He apologized for the way he mistreated me or whatever, but he's not apologizing for the time I spent in jail. He's not apologizing for taking the money that can't be put in my business. He's not apologizing for the dogs that died. You're not apologizing for a good human being. If you want to practice and paint the role of being a good human being, you don't throw somebody in the firing pit and then when they all burnt up and crispy, say I'm sorry.
The officer did not apologize for doing this to you because you did it. He's apologizing for being rude at the beginning of the phone call, which he shouldn't have apologized for because he did nothing wrong. And yes, Fraudermania, the outrage came a few minutes ago. This guy threatened the life of this guy's coworker, who's a deputy, I believe. And now it's turned into he's apologizing to the criminal and the criminal's the victim, even though there's a body cam video of him making the threats to the other deputy. It just doesn't make any sense. And yes, I'm literally here to make you guys share in my what did weapons just say. Yes, I wanted to piss all of you off. That's what my plan was. Yes, because I've been sitting on this video for days. I wanted to stream this weekend, but I was doing house stuff. And it just enraged me. Like I spam posted old Squishy Gardner's video 5 times, 6 times, because I was just so pissed at the public defender, Judge Washington, the sergeant for apologizing. I was just livid. Yeah, Ed, I would immediately say, Judge, I just want to take that back. Can you strike that apology from the record? Because fuck this guy. That's what I would do.
No, it's my belief. And notice I said it's my belief, so I keep my comments objective. This was done out of retaliation and spite. The laugh itself gave way to that. If you want to find me guilty, you know my belief. It was the Most High that allowed me to be found guilty.
I'm referring
You
to.
yourself have been a witness of many harassments to me as well as my family, because I don't want to participate in their active snitch program or volunteer information. I've been living my life the best of my ability for the last 5 years. None of my past history of my jacket, my modus operandi, do I participate in no more. Can't nobody say that. I don't carry guns. I don't do none of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So whatever decision you make, I'm going to take it as it is.
He doesn't carry guns, therefore he is a good person. I carry a gun on the daily, and by his logic, that makes me a bad person, even though I'm not the one out there threatening law enforcement. I'm not the one on trial for a felony with a criminal past. But no, he doesn't carry guns, therefore he's a good guy. Ed and KTZ sent me a whole bag that's going to be down here, and it's just going to be bad. It just, Uncle Dan's vintage vinyl, it just gets annoying because, like, this is the thing that kills me. Some people, there's not a defense. Like, they played the video so many times, it's just like, that's not good. And then he kept quoting law that didn't fit the situation to try to get him off. I just, like I kept saying, I understand that it's his job to give it the old college try, but like I don't like intentionally deceptive people.
Universe and roll with it, but accepting it, no, I'll maintain on this plane of existence.
I'm going to refer this to the probation department. I'm going to set sentencing in this matter on June 17th.
I feel like Emmett Till.
Okay.
Emmett Till, that's what I feel like. Emmett Till. He
All right,
rolling in his grave right now.
I'll see you at 10 a.m. on June 17th, Mr. Buckner.
Anytime a European can say something, European can do whatever they want. But you know, one thing about this black man, y'all never break me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a chosen one of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's going to have, so he has a karma debt. So when they get paid that karma debt, they told on me throughout these last few months. You know, I hope the same pieces, I hope they go through the same struggles as this black man did here. That's exactly what I hope they go through. I hope they go through the lies. I hope
Mr. Buckner, I really think you should stop
I hope
talking,
they go
sir.
through all that. No, the truth needs to be spoken. You know, it's always telling Mr. Buckner to be quiet. Mr. Buckner was respectful during the phone call. During the whole phone call, I tried to be respectful. I called the superior. I wouldn't have called the superior officer if I didn't have ongoing stuff. I didn't try to intimidate that man. That was just said out of anger. It was nothing to intimidate nobody else about. But the Most High knows my truth. The Most High knows my truth. That's why none of them other lies that was able to prevail. You know what I'm saying? So your apology is not accepted. You can take it back to where you came from. You are an Edomite, and you are a part of a system to take down black men who trying to get their life together. So no, I don't accept your apology. I don't accept nothing from y'all. I'm a black man getting my life together, and y'all just mad that I don't sell drugs. You mad that I don't carry guns. You mad that I don't poison my community no more. I'm sorry. I don't. I gave that up. I don't have a mom and dad no more. Thank you. So yeah, I see you whenever at 10 a.m. I appreciate you.
If you're driving, stop and pull over.
I'm not driving.
He's not driving. He's traveling. If I was the judge, again, don't ever let me be a judge. I would have said, all right, yeah, don't stop your car. You can travel your happy ass right to jail. See you in 30 days. In Law Talk with Mike fashion, it got worse. Yeah, if you guys want, I can Law Talk with Mike it for you guys. I'll wear a button up and not button it up, and we'll play Law Talk with Mike bingo. Let's see here. Oh, the European thing. Like I said, I think he's more Moorish than sovereign citizen. So he's playing the European, I'm from here, you're not. And it's just like, buddy, I can confirm that you are not. You are not.
I'm not driving. You see, I'm not driving. I was in the parking lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. You know what I'm saying? The black man can never win in this system at all. I've
Mr.
already been
Buckner,
in jail over the last month
I'm
because I was a
asking
black
you to
in the
stop
wrong place
talking
at the
before I
wrong
hold
time.
you in contempt of court. Please stop and get off my call.
Oh, I know you told me to get off. Hold on. All right. So when I go back to court?
On the 17th at 10 a.m., sir.
All right. Stay black.
And you do call probation tomorrow.
What's the number?
I will text it to you in the chat.
All right.
Good thing he said I can't watch any more of this. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm streaming tonight. But good thing is, it's over. Why does it always try to make me? It's so weird. All right, but yeah, that's the video. I didn't know what to do with that. In all honesty, I was just so pissed when I watched it. Like I said, I was spam posting old Squishy Gardner in his video comment section in the first 5 minutes. Let's see here. Who is live at the moment? And I will send you to them. I don't know. I'll try to send you guys to Colin. But it's a members only stream, so we shall see what we see. I'm going to the news. If you guys look at the Richard, you killed me. You brought it back up. He was a black man in the wrong place at the wrong time. Sir, the officer called you and you made a threat on a phone call while he was recording it. How is that in the wrong place at the wrong time? Seems like you knew exactly what you were doing. What I was going to say, the Reading the Room, which is the pinned comment. If you guys want to go subscribe to that, I have enlisted help. I got in contact with my buddy from the Navy. He is going to be helping me out with that channel with content. So I shouldn't take me 2 weeks to get out a video anymore. I'm trying to get him to be working on a video, me working out a video, and we can put them out a little bit quicker. Same thing with shorts. He is going to be working on a different, what am I looking at? He's going to be working on a different topic than I am, though. I know he's not as familiar with some of the stuff that I cover. So he's going to be off covering his own thing, and we should be good with that. KFREX mentioned the Buffalo Schools thing. What do you want me to talk about with the Buffalo School thing? Has anything else happened? Because I haven't really been keeping up too much with that. I mean, I have, but not in depth. I just know whatever the fat electrician posts on, what's it called? On X or whatever. Why is it not letting me send you to Colin? All right, I'm not going to send you over to Colin. I'm just going to tell you to go over to Colin. Yeah, the fat electrician binder. Did he also paint anchors? I believe he actually painted anchors. I believe he did. And then he went to engineering, I believe. Yeah. Oh, a video is coming on. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, go subscribe to that. I actually am working on a video right now. I'm 7 minutes into it, so that should be done tomorrow, but no promises. There's the update for that. How are the chicks? Gigantic. They went from like this big to like this big. It's just a crazy thing. Oh, he's got interviews. Hopefully it's that teacher that was like, of course shit's going on like that. All right, I'm going to get out of here now because I'm going to go do other things. Everybody have a good rest of your day. Don't go harass Judge Washington. Don't call Judge Washington. Don't call the public defender. Don't talk to anyone regarding that case. Even the dipshit. I don't even remember his name. But yeah, go over to Colin. Tell him I said what's up. Have a good rest of your week, guys. Bye.